Welcome, beautiful people. This is a great opportunity on a Saturday morning for me to introduce myself and share with you some really important information that I think can help yourself, your people you love, and pretty much this is going to hopefully be a game changer for the rest of your life. My name is Dr. Tia Julie Phillips, and I'm going to spend a little bit of time with you just going over hopefully some things that you've never heard before, and hopefully some things that will serve as a catalyst for you as you go forward in your health journey. I'm going to go through some slides. I'm going to be updating this presentation, and I'll be presenting it again probably within a month or so. But for right now, the slides are good. The information's great. And I just appreciate y'all being with me. At the very end of the presentation, I'm going to have one single link that I can share with you, and you'll be able to access a lot of the information I'm sharing with you. You'll be able to get a hold of me. You'll be able to ask questions. So just be present with me and just enjoy what I have to share. It's very well thought out. I've got literally dozens and dozens of hours into this presentation, and I keep improving it every single time. So thanks again for joining me. So I'm going to do a little bit about myself, a little bit of background for those of you who don't know me, and I'll go from there in terms of presenting the actual information. But I want to tell you about my world. I'm Tia Julie Phillips. I really enjoy several things. I enjoy flying airplanes. I used to be a military aviator, flew in the Air Force. I was an instructor pilot, flew worldwide. Then I flew corporate, and technically I'm still a captain for JetBlue. If I wanted to go back to fly, I could do that. I also play music. I'm in a band. I'm a bass player for Phil Collins tribute band. I don't know if you know Phil Collins, but so I play bass for them. And then I love math and science. Just totally enjoy math and science. So this is just a backdrop about me. I'm a family person. I've got 4 children. I've got grandchildren. I just love life and enjoy life, and in all of its flavors and colors. And my goal is to bring forth heaven on earth. I don't work anymore. Pretty much serving people is what I do for my full-time work. So I want to share with you before we go too deep that I'm not a medical doctor. I hear people say, oh, my doctor said this and this. I always clarify, it's like, you mean your medical doctor said that, right? Because they're going to teach you medicine. They're not going to teach you about health. So I'm very clear that I'm not a medical doctor. I have nothing to do with medicine other than I help people avoid the medical paradigm. I teach scientific methodologies. I use evidence-based science, and I enjoy critical thinking, and I encourage you to do the same. I'm not limited. I can say what I want because I don't fall under the religious guidelines of modern medicine. So if you're looking for medicine or medical advice, you probably should leave right now and go somewhere else, because that's not what we're going to talk about here. We're going to talk about how your body works and what an amazing, amazing person you are. So if you want to take notes, you can, but like I said, I'm probably going to record this at a future point in time, and you don't have to worry about your cell phones because I have everybody muted. So. But I'll make this available at a future time when I update my slides. I believe strongly that your future is a function of the quality of the questions you ask. You should really get in the habit. I'm probably the only doctor that will ever talk to you that encourages you to question everything I say. I really want you to question everything I say, because not because I'm wrong, but because it's a good habit to question everything. When you look at the scientific methodology, the very first thing we should be doing is asking questions. And from there, we do research, we form a hypothesis. But most people, they just jump to these conclusions. And in the modern medical paradigm, what will happen is they'll actually start with the conclusion, and then they'll work backwards and ask questions that get you to their conclusion. Or they'll do the research that brings you to their conclusion. And that's really not the way the scientific methodology works. What you should be doing is going out and observing things and asking questions, and then digging in, comparing notes with other people, not squelching dissenting views, but actually collaborating with other people So these are really super important concepts. So, being intelligent doesn't mean just listening to somebody's narrative. It doesn't mean to listening to one Dr. Gap or to listening to some government expert, so-called expert, say what is right for you or what you should be doing. Intelligence is having a critical mind and asking questions, oftentimes not listening to what's said, but also listening to what's not said. So the quality of your life is going to be a function of the quality of your questions. Welcome to the new people who just joined the room. I also want to share with you that I do read medical publications. I do read medical resources, studies, reports, but I also read and get information from all sorts of different places. I do a lot of reading. I've got stacks and stacks of books. Many of them are out of print. Many of them are censored or contraband books. So what I'm presenting to you today is unlike anything you've probably seen anywhere else. It's truly an amalgamation of all of the information I can get from so many different sources. So just understand that, and truly, if you have other sources that you believe I should read or look at, I would consider it a huge favor for you to share those with me as well. So I'm going to give you a link at the end. You don't need to worry about this too much, but I'm going to send you a link at the end, and you'll be able to just follow those links and get some of the resources that I'm talking about today. You might have questions and answers after the presentation, depending on how many people we have here. I might open it up. I'll probably open it up and answer, have you answer any questions you might have. But there's some things you might have, some questions you might have that are very personal, and you don't want to ask them in a personal, like in a public forum. So what I'll do is I'm going to provide each of you an opportunity to collaborate with me directly. I'm going to have a link, and you can just click the link, find a time in your schedule that works in my schedule, and I'll answer any questions you have for free, whatever time works for you. So I'm going to give you 30 minutes free. Actually, I do all my work for free, but I'm going to give you 30 minutes initially just to answer any specific questions that you might have for yourself or for your family. So, gut babies, nurturing your inner garden. I want to share with you that you are in and of yourselves, you are actually a universe. You're a universe of your own. And my goal today is to share with you this important concept that by setting the conditions that your body is exposed to, you're going to change the results. So I'm going to use a gardening example. I live here in Central Florida. I have 20 acres. I grow my own food. I call this place Phillips Island, and it's really kind of an island. My closest neighbors are horses. So it's a really beautiful place to be, but I wanted to set the conditions for my living that were away from pollution and away from frequencies and away from a lot of the things that are not good for myself and for my family. But that's my living area. But even this body, this bag of water that's got minerals and structure to it, this body, I have to set the conditions so that this body can take me through my human experiences. So we're going to change the conditions. Now I'm going to use the garden example. When you go and look at the garden, when you go look at healthy soil, which is really hard to find nowadays, admittedly, but it's got different layers, it's got different structures to it. And those layers all have important functions. They have, like, you can, if you do without one of those layers, it's going to have poor structure, and the soil's not going to be as powerful as it needs to be to support the living life that's on it and in it. So each layer of the soil's got an important function. And then if you don't preserve those layers, then you're going to look what's on the right here, and you're going to see this cracking, and it's not going to do the things that it needs to do. And instead of growing beautiful things, you're going to grow weeds and some bad things. Okay, so that's the idea. We've got all these elements, and a lot of them are in the soil. So what these plants do is they actually reach into the soil, and they get minerals, and they get gases from the air, and they get water. And what they do is they reach into the soil, and they try to find things that serve them. These plants, they reach in, and they're finding their way using these little fingers that they call roots, and they try to find things that serve them. And if all they find are things like, like on the 10-10-10 fertilizer, right? They're going to get your nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium, right? If you just get those basic nutrients, the NPK, you're not going to get a vibrant plant. You're going to get something that looks like a plant, but it's not going to fully function like a plant until you give it all of the other resources it needs to be powerful. If you give it the other resources, that plant's going to be able to do some really cool things, like communicate effectively with its environment, like procreate, right? It's going to be able to give birth to other plants, right? Those are important things, but if it's not a healthy plant, it won't be able to do that. And also like defend itself from invaders, from insects. It'll be able to produce hormones and pheromones and things that dissuade insects and disease from attacking it, right? So by giving the plant the correct conditions, you're going to actually have a very vibrant plant. And I'm using this because it's a very powerful analogy for how you live your life, okay? So everything's a flow. I'm not going to get too much into this slide, but just understand that everything's a flow, and you need certain things to be in motion for you to realize your full potentiality. This revolves around hydrogen, oxygen, and water. And I'm going to go into hydrogen, oxygen, and water a little bit more because so few people understand how important these are. When I say the word hydrogen, I want you to be thinking electrons, okay? So you've heard of things like antioxidants. Well, we're going to be talking a little bit about those too. What is oxidative stress, things like that. So, okay, so when we look at this plant and it's sitting in the soil, what happens is these roots, they actually reach into the soil, and these roots have little hairs on them. And those hairs sense what's going on in the soil. And the roots are going to selectively permit the plant to selectively uptake anything in the soil that's beneficial to the plant. If it's not beneficial, the plant will leave it alone. If it is beneficial, the plant's going to say, yes, that's going to become a very important part of my future. I mean, the plant doesn't say that, but that's really what happens, right? So now the plant can be fooled, like you can put chemicals in the soil, and you can put fertilizers and things like that that'll trick the plant. But under normal natural circumstances, the plant will only permit things into its circulatory system that it senses will benefit the plant, okay? So when we look at the layers of soil, it's not only supporting the plant, but it's supporting an entire ecosystem. You can see the soil, but then when you look deeper, you can see the worms. And when you look deeper than that, you can actually see bacteria and fungus. And it's the actual bacteria and fungus that's in the soil that supports the soil and gives it the structure and gives it the robustness. In fact, a lot of people, they're deficient in B12. Well, where does B12 come from in the soil? B12 is a metabolic byproduct of healthy soil. If you have fungus and bacteria in the soil, they live, they procreate, they poop, they sleep, they do the things that bacteria do, but a byproduct of a certain bacterium is B12. Vitamin B12 comes from the soil. And then the plants take that, put it up into the plant from the root, from its own metabolic activities, and presents them to us in their little green leaves and in their vegetables and things like that. So the healthy soil is what gives us the nutrients from the soil. If you have depleted soil, you have poor conditions, then you're going to have poor foods as well. And of course, if you want vibrant plants, like the soil we have out here that we've taken 3 years to grow, you can literally put a plant in there and it's going to be powerful within a week or two. It's just amazing when you change the conditions, how powerful the outcome is. So the bottom line is, if you change the conditions, you're going to have healthy plants. But the same thing goes for you too. March of last year, I had a 77-year-old. He was a World War II veteran. He had been on insulin as a type 2 diabetic for almost 50 years. So he had been taking insulin for almost 50 years. And the medical community labeled him type 2 diabetic. So he met me here in my studio and I said, because he knows I was a captain in the Air Force. He says, well, Captain, what do you recommend I do? I said, well, you're former military, you're very, very coachable. So I recommend you follow my instructions very closely if you don't want to be a type 2 diabetic anymore. Now, I'm not making claims that I heal people or anything like that. I'm just saying I showed him how to change the conditions. 5 weeks later, he followed everything I had him to do. And 5 weeks later, he was no longer a type 2 diabetic. He had perfectly healthy blood, and he was no longer on any of his 3 blood medications. His wife, who helped him with his protocols, actually followed the protocols for herself, and she lost 35 pounds just by helping her husband. So this is just one example of if you change the conditions. They didn't do anything else. He was still a retired veteran. She was still a shuttle bus driver. But if you change the conditions, the results, you're going to yield different results. Okay, so now let's get into a little more nitty gritty here. I'm going to teach you some things about yourself. Now, I don't think I know many of y'all, but I do think I know you better than you know you in some regards. So I'm going to give you some surprising facts that might surprise you. First of all, you don't have just one brain. In fact, almost every cell in your body has got its own brain. But the major brains that you have are in this order: your heart, your gut, and then the brain that's in your cranium, right? That's the order of importance for your brains. And I say that based on my belief system that we have a divine creator. Okay, so in my paradigm, my connection with my creator is my number one connection, which is my heart connection. And it's a legitimate connection. You can do the research. There's a whole field of study called heart math, where you can measure the impact of somebody's heart. You can measure what their heart is actually sending and receiving by way of information. That's heart math. Our heart's not just a pump, it's all muscle pumping. It's 25% neurons. Neurons send and receive information. So even though all y'all are all over the country, I'm sending you love right now and you're receiving it, whether you know it or not. Our hearts communicate multidimensionally. It's like basically a 5-dimensional transceiver. So your heart is your number one brain. You should be making your decisions based on your heart. Your second brain is your gut, okay? Your gut is not just a tube that gets food and poops it out the bottom end. Your gut's so much more than that. We're going to dive into it. But your gut is actually an entire brain in and of itself. When we talk in terms of the enteric nervous system, you've heard of gastroenterology. Well, the enteric, everyone talks about the gastro part, right? But nobody talks about the enteric nervous system. The enteric part is the brain, right? So I'm going to talk to you about the brain of your gut. And then there's the third brain, which is up in your cranium here. And that's the order. So what we should be doing is living our lives according to what our heart says is right and good and just. Then we do a gut check. It's a legitimate thing. Does this feel good? Does this feel right? And then once our gut and our heart agree on something, then what we do is we tell this brain, which I call it the slave brain, make it so number one. And then this brain figures out how to get those things done. All right. So when we're in alignment with the gut, heart, brain, then we can really just do miracles. And on another time, I can tell you countless numbers of instances where that's been true in my life. Now, when you look at this picture on the right-hand side, you see this thing that looks like the spinal column. It's a big vertical column that goes right through your body, right? Top to bottom. That's not your spinal column. It's so much more important than your spinal column. It's called the vagus nerve system. It's the vagus nerve bundle. It's actually a bundle of nerves. And like if you've ever opened up a modern engine, you open up the hood and you look at there's this cable and it reaches down and it connects to the exhaust, the intake manifold, the gas, the air pressure, it senses everything that's going on. Some of the cars even check your tire pressure for you and things like that. They modulate your air conditioning. Some of these engines are so complex and so complete, but you're so much more special and you're so much more capable than a stupid car. This vagus nerve does so many amazing things and nobody talks about it except for people like me. It's not spelled Vegas like Las Vegas. It's spelled Vagus, like vagus, all right? So it's the vagus nerve. Now, this nerve it actually connects the base of your brain to virtually all of your organs. It's reaching, just like those roots of the plant, it's reaching and sensing, it's checking your oxygen, it's checking your alkalinity of your blood, it's checking what you ate yesterday. It's trying to sense if what you ate yesterday is beneficial or if it's an emergency that your body needs to deal with. It's sensing if you're being bathed in frequencies. It's sensing if you're stressed because your family member's hurt. It's picking up all of this information and feeding it to your brain, okay? So it's connected from, it checks your heart, your lungs, your liver, your kidney, your spleen. It checks your colon all the way down to your anus. It's connected everywhere. So this is super important. Like if you cut your spinal column, you'd be paralyzed, right? From that point down. If you cut this vagus nerve, you would die. I mean, it's that important and nobody talks about it. So I'm glad you're here today because now you can start studying the vagus nerve with me. So if I took your gut and, your gut is where you absorb your nutrients, right? So if I took your intestines and I opened up your intestines and I spread out all the folds, because it's like a wrinkly mass, right? And I spread it out, the surface area would be that of the size of a tennis court. So it's a very, very large surface area, but it's balled up into your gut. It's like wrinkled up and put into your gut. That surface area is only a few layers thick. It's only a few cells thick. So it's very, very thin, but very, very large. Now, if you look at the anatomy of the digestive system, all those folds, that surface area, those are basically like the roots that go into the soil, except it's inside out. The soil is like the food that you eat. So these fingers are reaching into the food, trying to figure out what's going to serve you and what's not going to serve you, what's beneficial and what's not. Now you can trick your body. You can eat some chemicals or different food additives, and you can eat different like artificial sweeteners, and you can trick your body, and your body's going to misbehave because you're fooling your body, right? It's expecting food, and then you present something to it. It's like, hey, y'all, I don't know what this is you're doing to me. And in some circumstances, it creates an emergency, right? Your body goes on high alert because you're stressing it out because it doesn't understand what you just did to it. So these fingers allow things into your body to circulate. Those layers, just like the layers of the soil, those layers they're going to do things like 80% of your immune system is right behind your gut. So if you unfolded the gut, right behind the gut is most of your immune system, right? So if you're doing things to your gut to compromise your gut, and then you're diagnosed with an autoimmune disease, and they're going to put you with a bunch of medications, why not first understand why is your immune system being threatened in the first place? Why don't we look at the root cause and say, well, wait a minute, if most of my immune system's in my gut and I'm having an autoimmune situation, why don't I take some time to see maybe I'm abusing my gut and I don't know it? And maybe I should do some evaluation as to how can I treat my gut better so I can have better results, okay? So there's the immune system, but then there's also the circulatory system. So if you perforate your gut, there's a thing called leaky gut. And if you have leaky gut, then that means you're going to allow things into your circulatory system that are not always good, right? So let's just say you take a standard American diet and you put it into a blender. So you take the meat, potatoes, French fries, breakfast cereal, gallon of milk, whatever you eat. Hopefully you don't eat all that junk, but if you do eat that stuff, put it in a blender, put a little vinegar in there just to give it some acidity. Take the blender, stick it out, put a bag over it on your front porch on a 98.6 degree day. All right. So you have all the stuff you ate yesterday, blend it up, little acidity in a dark area, 98.6 degrees, and take it out. Take the lid off the next day and you just smell that. And tell me if you have a great experience, right? That's some wickedness. Now, if you permit that sludge that's partially digested, partially broke down, who knows what, if you permit that to breach the walls, the protective areas of your gut, it breaches the walls and that goes into your circulatory system. It's no wonder that you're going to be tired and hungry and upset and not sleeping well, and your hormones are out of balance because your body is fighting in a freaking war because you let partially digested proteins circulate through your system. If you're lucky, if they're fat soluble or lipophilic, they like clinging to fat, they could even lodge in your brain and cause problems in your brain. So this is not something you really want to do, okay? You want to protect your gut. There's a reason that 80% of your defense is in your gut. So this is what happens if you abuse your gut. But first, true or false, you are what you eat. I've heard that 1,000 times, and it's totally patently false. Because here's the deal. I could take a marble, I could eat it, and I could poop out the marble. I'm not a marble. There's no part of that that's me. I didn't absorb it. I just let it go through my system and I pooped it out. Similarly, I could go swim in toxic sludge. I'm not going to eat it, but I'm going to absorb so much of it through my skin. Our skin's very, very porous, right? I didn't eat it, but I still absorbed it. So it's not you are what you eat. The truth is you are an amalgamation of all of the things that you absorb, whether it's nutritious or not. I call it toxins, so I'll address this now. In my world, I classify a nutrient as something that builds me up or helps me be my best self. It puts me on the path towards my best self. Everything else is a toxin or what I call an anti-nutrient. So an anti-nutrient is something that does not serve you. So if you have a brother-in-law that's being stupid in your face, technically in my world, that's an anti-nutrient. You need to permit that to pass you by and don't absorb it. If you have any other negative situations, or if you have an opportunity, you're just really, really hungry, you have an opportunity to eat some processed foods, you're looking at that. You've been trained to look at that processed food as food, but it's truly not in the truest sense. It's actually, you're going to be introducing an emergency to your body. You're introducing toxins to your system. And if you do that over a prolonged period of time, you're going to have some certain negative results. On the left picture, you see, this is what the electron microscope of a healthy human gut looks like. It's a thin layer, and that's where you absorb all of your nutrients. The center picture is a cross-section of an intestinal lining of rats that have been fed GMO foods. We have GMO foods. So there's an inflammatory situation developing in this rat's gut, because guess what? It's being exposed to toxins, and we're exposed to toxins, we swell up, right? So this lining swells up. So now you have instead of a thin lining that permits nutrients to come in, you've got a thick lining that blocks. It's more difficult for nutrients to get in, right? So 2 weeks ago, I got a new client that her digestion was basically shut down. She's 55 years old. She's been on pharmaceuticals for almost 50 years. She was 6 years old. her gut was basically shut down. She was starving to death. That was 2 weeks ago. She could barely walk. Her husband called me, said now she's going up and down the steps. She's doing all the things she needs to do because we were able to find ways to get the nutrients through that thick lining. And now her body's starting to repair itself. So if you have a thick lining and you're trying to absorb nutrients, it's an uphill battle. Okay. It's like driving with your foot on the brake. Doesn't work. There's other diet-induced pathologies that will really negatively affect your body. Some of them are, food colorings in the United States, the Fraud and Deception Administration, the FDA, they basically say, look, whatever serves industry is going to be okay. We're just going to rubber stamp it. Well, the truth is there's food colorings and things like that, excitotoxins that are the rest of the world saying, there's no way you're putting that in my kid. But here we're like, oh yeah, just shove that down your throat and be quiet, kid. And it's literally killing their gut. So now you have all these kids running around and adults too, with these big trophy guts. They're running around and they have these toxic guts. Their linings are swollen up. You can see their organs are swollen just by looking at them. How do you think the nutrients are the nutrients having a good time trying to get through that mess? This is absurd because we're abusing the lining. To give you an idea, think about the most sensitive mucus layer in your body. It might be the inside of your eye, or maybe, the inside of your vagina or the tip of your penis or your anus. Those are really sensitive little areas where the mucus is very thin and very delicate. You wouldn't be putting toxins on those areas. But because our guts don't have those sensors, people pile toxins in their guts all the time. And the gut doesn't feed it back. It might manifest in different ways. But if you wouldn't put those things in your eyes or in your bath water, why would you put them in your body? So these diet-induced intestinal pathologies are really a bad thing. The good news is your body is going to begin to replace the innermost lining of your intestines within 72 hours of you changing the conditions. The innermost lining of your intestines is very fast to replace itself. Okay, just want to go into that. I hope you're enjoying this. So, I've heard this 1,000 times. Oh, but I have bad genes. My mom, her mom, they all had this bad stomach or bad joints, acne, whatever. Okay, so here's the deal. The two ladies on the top left are identical twins. The two ladies on the top right are identical twins. So you say to me, Tia Julie, how can those be identical twins? They're not even similar. Well, golly, do you think they have different ways of managing stress, different diets, different levels of exposure, different relationships with their spouse, different ways of communicating with their creator? Or maybe they don't believe in God. Maybe they just don't find ways to find peace in their lives. Maybe they never get fresh air and sunshine and hug the people that love them, right? So these people that say, well, I have bad genes, they've totally bought off on a bogus medical paradigm, all right? And I'm going to demonstrate this to you right now. All y'all have seen this double helix. I'm sorry, somebody's coming in that through the system. I'm going to please mute yourself if you're new to the room or something. Everybody should. Thank you for muting yourself. So modern medicine's going to have this double helix, and they worship it, right? It's this DNA, and everything's DNA, right? Let me ask you this question. If I brought you to the treehouse here on Phillips Island, and I walked you over to my printer, and I worship the printer because look at it, it's producing paper, and it's got print on it. This thing is just amazing. This printer is the greatest thing in the world. You'd probably tap me on the shoulder and say, hey, the computer's the thing telling it what to do. This thing, all it's doing is printing it. The printer's just printing stuff. The computer's doing all the work, right? So you'd set me straight on that. The DNA represents 2% of your entire genome. 2%. The other 98%, science calls junk DNA. They call it junk because they don't want you to explore it. They don't want you to know how amazing you are. They don't want you to know how powerful you are, how adaptive. The DNA itself, the double-stranded, the double helix, does two things, right? Number one is it synthesizes proteins. That's it. It makes proteins or molecules. It makes molecules. And then it folds those molecules one way or the other. That's all it does. It prints and it folds. That's it. What's the computer that tells it what to do? Well, all this other stuff here, this whole chain is the computer. This is the area called epigenetics or above genetics. The DNA prints and folds, but this computer senses everything. It senses how many methyl groups you have. If you're taking vitamins, you want to find out, make sure they're methylated vitamins. Methylation is something you would get from the garden if you're eating from the Garden of Eden, right? You're just getting good nature. Nature provides ample methyl groups. Those methyl groups clamp onto, they're like a carbon with 3 hydrogens, clamp onto the DNA and either tell it to express something or to not express something. So they do other things too, but that's basically within this context. They're very important for gene expression or gene suppression, methylation, methyl groups, methylated vitamins. Remember that. These other things, look at what it's sensing here. They've got these sensors for whenever you see the word chroma means color, right? Are you in the sunlight? Are you getting white light, which is all the colors? If you're in the sunlight, you're getting all the colors that permeate you, that bathe you. These chromatins, they sense how much color you're getting in your life, right? They also sense the colors you get from plants. Like if you're eating the rainbow, you literally, that plant, the reason it looks a certain color is because it's actually absorbed all the other colors, right? So it's basically looks the color it is. And then when you take those colors into you, I challenge you to challenge me on this. All of the polyphenols, the phytonutrients, all of those help your body in different ways. So it's the exogenous, exo means outside of you, genus, source. The exogenous sun frequencies are going to help you. But then what you eat as your diet is going to help you with the colors from within. All this is sensed. What about the histamines? If you're stressed, you're in a stressed mode, it's going to sense your histamines. It's going to sense your levels of stress. It's even going to it's going to perceive your belief systems. If you look, all of us can look at the same situation and interpret it. Like if there's 10, 12, 15 of us on the call, all of us can interpret the same situations 15 different ways, right? How you choose to interpret the world around you. Are you surrounded by infinite blessings? Are you loved? Those things will affect your DNA expression, all right? So this chart's really hard to read, but I'm going to just roll with me. On my next presentation, on my next version, I'm going to make this chart bigger so it's readable. But look here, it says, under the number of chromosomes for a human being, 46 chromosomes. Hold that number in your brain, because you can go down to a grain of wheat. If you look at the chromosomes on a grain of wheat, it has 42. Okay, well, that's close. We'll look over on the right column for humans. What are the total number of genes on the chromosome? Well, for humans, it's about a little over 20,000, right? For a grain of wheat, it's over 100,000. So wait a minute. We are infinitely more complex than a grain of wheat. So how is it that we have approximately the same number of chromosomes, and the gene pairs are like 5 times more for a stupid grain of wheat than it is for us beautiful creations, right? Not the grain, it's not the wheat's not beautiful, but I'm just saying we're infinitely more complex. So you have to resolve that question. And the answer is this epigenetics. A piece of grain is going to be the same now as it was thousands of years ago. It doesn't have to enter a relationship. It doesn't have to think about its future and design its future. It doesn't have to deal with complexities. You see, we are creators. We're made in the image and likeness of a creator. So that makes us co-creators or miniature creators. We can create our future, right? A grain of wheat doesn't do that. Like we can change just like this. It's got to wait for this whole evolutionary process, but we can change immediately, pretty much with our belief systems, right? So these types of things, this is just like a little taste of epigenetics, and this is a taste of how amazing you are. Let this serve as a catalyst for you to dive more into this area, okay? I'm going to leave this on the table for now to move forward into some more practical applications of this. So I named this thing gut babies. Why? Because when you were born, if you were fortunate enough where your mother breastfed you, there was this first 2 days or so, a day or two, where there's this clear fluid. It was called colostrum or colostrum. It was clear fluid. It was not milk, but it was really rich with what's called HMOs, which are human memory oligosaccharides. It's a medium chain sugar, and it specifically fed a type of bacteria called Bifidobacterium longum infantis. Pretty cool name. But the idea is that this colostrum fed a very specific bacteria that had a very specific job. And the baby, the brand new suckling, the brand new baby, when it exited mommy's birth canal, was imprinted with a whole bunch of bacteria and fungus. 75% of the baby's delivery into this earth space gave it an imprint of mommy's what's called biome, the microbiome, the microbes, the live microbes that are on her and in her. So the baby took that 75%. Now, one of those cultures of bacteria was called Bifidobacterium longum. It devoured that colostrum. Every bit of that colostrum was just, and it led to this proliferation from the baby, from the base of the tongue all the way to the anus. All of those folds, every nook and cranny, all the way along the digestive system. And what this did was it formed the first layer. It prepared the soil for the baby's digestive system. It prepared the soil. And then the baby was able to build layers upon that of bacteria and fungus. So there's literally whole families of bacteria and fungus that would cascade from that initial layer. And then we have all of these families, certain of these families of bacteria and fungus, like the Prevotella. Prevotella is a really good fungus or a bacteria that lives in your body. Bifidobacterium, and also some mind blanks, but basically there's some really good families of bacteria that live on you and in you. But if you feed the correct bacteria, Bacteroides, that's it. Bacteroides is another. Those are the 3 best groups of bacteria you can feed. If you feed the correct bacteria through your whole life, you're going to constantly be replenishing the good bacteria that serves your body. Just like we built the bacteria in the soil that served the plant, we're building the bacteria in the gut that serves our ecosystem, right? Now, I've had people ask me, well, Dr. Phillips, what do you think about probiotics? And I'm like, well, I mean, they're important. The thing is, most people, if you have a garbage diet and you have a probiotic, it's going to die in your stomach. You can take them all the time. They're never going to make it to your colon. They're never going to make it past your stomach. what you have to do is you have to pre-position the foods that the biome needs to party, to live, right, to thrive. Just like the milk helped the baby thrive, you need to position the things in your gut that will help your gut thrive and be happy. So you want to, if you're going to host a party for 10 billion guests in your colon, you want to pre-position the foods that they want. Otherwise, you're going to have an angry party, right? You're going to be throwing and breaking your cabinets and stuff. So what you want to do is you want to feed them dietary plant fibers, not this psyllium garbage that they put in Metamucil. That'll kill you. You want to put in the beautiful plant fibers that come right from the plant, not cooked, not pulverized, not powdered, fresh from the plant, where the first breaking of the fibers with your teeth, an apple, right? Red pepper, spinach, right from the plant, right? Pineapple. Those plant fibers, what's going to happen is your body is going to absorb the soluble fiber. So your body is going to take advantage of the soluble fiber. But then there's this stuff called insoluble plant fiber that your body can't do anything with. And that's what goes into your colon and just lets these beautiful bacterium just rapidly populate. And it changes your gut within a week or so. So just right now, 1 week from now, you can actually have a profoundly different gut and enterotype than you do right now. I say enterotype, I'm going to talk about the enteric nervous system right now because we talked about the gastroenterology. What we're getting into now is the enterology part of it. That is, how do I take care of the gut and the nervous system associated with the gut? Okay. And the secret is you don't do it. The bacteria in the microbiome of your gut, they're the ones that take care of your vagus nerve and they take care of most of your body. Okay. So once again, by taking care of that bacteria and giving it the foods and giving it the conditions that they need, they in turn are going to take care of you just the way the colostrum of your mother's milk fed the right bacteria, and that bacteria took care of the baby. Once the bacteria was in place, the baby was able to receive the milk and the baby thrived. Okay, so we need to restore that pristine gut for you to have the outcomes that you need. So we've all heard about free radicals, antioxidants, oxidative stress, blah, 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 right? How many of y'all like to age early or have diseases, right? Nobody does. All of it's related to oxidative stress. If you look at the upper left, excuse me, oxidative stress, in a nutshell, is when you have a molecule or an atom that's very, very happy with the number of electrons it's got, and then something happens. It could be radiation, it could be frequencies, it could be stress, it could be a chemical fertilizer, it could be synthetic foods, but it could be fluoride or chlorine, and they steal electrons from this molecule. And without those, when it loses electrons, this molecule, it starts to misbehave. It's not going to be happy until it gets those electrons back, all right? So there's things called group 17. Don't get freaked out about the table. I'm going to explain it to you. All of these elements in this group 17 are called halides. Look at what they are: fluoride, chlorine, bromine, and iodine. All of those are naturally missing one electron, and they're naturally going to do whatever they take to go get that missing electron, whether it means combining with another, forming a molecule, or combining with another element. They're going to do whatever it takes to fill that void created by the missing electron. Fluoride is one of the most toxic things you can put in your body, all right? The fluoride is going to steal electrons about 10 times more aggressively than anything else. So if you're drinking bottled water that's from municipal source, or you're drinking city water, municipal city water, and they're adding fluoride, you got to stop it. You need to filter that stuff out. Because remember, your body is an ocean. And if you have fluoride all over your ocean, it's stealing electrons. And if you steal electrons, you create what's called free radicals. Free radicals. Yeah, that means they're roaming free and causing problems, right? In chemical terms, we call those reactive oxygen species, ROS species. That means that those things, as they float around your body, they're going to create havoc. And there's going to result in pathologies. Pathologies, pathos means death, and ology is study of death, or the study of the degradation of your body, right? So the solution is restore electrons, or give those things the electrons they need. Sometimes all you need to do is, like, I've got my bare feet on this grounding pad right now, and that's anchored to the earth. So I plug it into the grounding strip in my office, and it's anchored to the earth with a copper pole 14 feet down. So the earth is feeding me right now electrons while I'm talking to y'all, but you can get them through your diet. You can get them through deep breathing out at the ocean, or just going in the ocean, or walking barefoot out on a clean forest, like just walking barefoot on the ground, especially after a rain. You can get electrons a lot of different ways, but you need to get electrons into you. One way we get those is with what we call antioxidants. You've heard the term, but you probably don't know what it means. Antioxidants carry extra electrons. So if you have things in your body that are misbehaving because they don't have electrons, antioxidants provide extra electrons to those. And it's like a little pacifier for a baby. Wah, wah, crying, I want my electron. Here's your electron. Be quiet and do your stuff. Oh, okay. And they're on doing their thing, right? So you can do things like, there's antioxidants that are water soluble, and then there's antioxidants that are fat soluble. You need them both. Vitamins A, C, and E are awesome sources. You need those in your body. You also need polyphenols. Those pretty much come from plants. I personally, for some people that are really bad off, like I've got a firefighter up in Toronto right now with stage 4 stomach cancer. I'm helping him. We got him on carbon 60. Vitamin C holds 2 electrons. Carbon 60 holds 120 electrons. So this is like a utility truck just passing out electrons everywhere. So I'm just sharing with you that there's certain things we can do. I also encourage people to use organic sulfur, or make sure that you have sulfur in your diet, because it can carry a lot of oxygen and electrons. So let's tie a little bow on all of this, okay? And thank you all for being here. This is like, I love getting this information out. Hopefully you find it beneficial. So let's tie a bow on it. Most people are suffering, and they don't even think about why they're suffering. But what we want to do is talk about short chain fatty acids, and those are going to come from eating from the garden. I talk about it in terms of returning to the garden, fresh fruits, vegetables. Now, people say, well, TJ, I'm not going to be a vegan. Well, it's like, don't be a vegan then. Just to the degree you're able and willing to do so, introduce plant fibers to your body. Introduce more things from the garden. I'm not talking about ketchup. Ketchup is not a food. A tomato is food. So it's like, go to the garden and actually get them right off the vine, or right from the plant, from the shrub, from the tree, whatever. The things in the bottom left, did you know that lunch meat is considered a class 1 carcinogen? You're eating cancer-forming nitrates when you're eating lunch meat. It's pretty disgusting, and most people do it every day. I eat healthy. I go to Subways. Yeah, good luck with that. So yeah, if you're eating the standard American diet, you're actually creating what's called dysbiosis. Biosis means biome, right? Dis means not. You're eating, not living. You're eating, not living, all right? Eubiosis means happy, or happy bios, happy biome, or happy gut. So by feeding the good bacteria, you're going to have a happy gut. The byproducts, just like I talked about the soil creating B12, which is beneficial to the plant and also beneficial to us. The beneficial byproducts of feeding your gut, the good bacteria, are things like propionate, butyrate, and acetate. Butyrate and acetate are going to help heal your gut. They're also very good neurotransmitters. They're going to give you a good feeling about your life. These people with ADD, ADHD, bipolar, all these things, when you ask them what they actually eat, they eat virtually no plant fibers. And so it's no wonder if the neurotransmitters are going to give you the happy gut and your gut is connected to your brain. If you don't have a happy gut, you're not going to have a happy brain. They're connected. Propionate is that neurotransmitter that says, you know what? I'm very happy. I've had enough to eat. I don't need to eat anything else. So if you have a problem with appetite, maybe you need to eat some more plant fibers. I will say one more thing, there's so many things we can get from the soil that nobody talks about. I'm really big on sulforaphanes. Most people need to eat broccoli, cauliflower. I said, well, teacher, I don't like Brussels sprouts. Doesn't matter. Get it anyway. Or eat garlic, eat onions. Most people are deficient on sulfur. I'm not deficient on sulfur. I get it from the garden, plus I supplement with organic sulfur. What happens is this. I've had people present with, my doctor says that I have my thyroid's broken. It's like, well, first of all, you mean your medical doctor, right? MD, like more drugs, right? They're going to sell more drugs. Your medical doctor has 3 tools to use. They can drug you, they can cut you, or they can irradiate you. They have nothing to do with health. And I'm not discounting if you're a medical doctor, welcome, but I'm teaching you the things that they don't teach you in medical school right now. They know nothing about human health and physiology, very, very little. They know how to prescribe drugs. You're not broken. If you have a low functioning thyroid, you're not broken. Your body is responding intelligently to a set of conditions that you're providing it. If you change the conditions, then you're going to change the outcome. I have people that eat perfect diets, they're fresh air, sunshine, they're doing everything correctly, but they never learn to manage stress. Your autonomic nervous system is, if you're in the stress mode, I'm always stressed. When I have people that are severely overweight, I ask them, how do you manage your stress? Oh my gosh, I'm the worst. Huh? No surprise there. I knew the answer before I asked. Because guess what? If you're under stress, your thyroid downregulates. Stress is supposed to be for if you're being chased by a tiger. How many of y'all have been chased by a tiger? Your stupid brother-in-law is not the same as a tiger. You can't ignore a tiger. And what your body does is it shuts down your brain, it narrows your vision, or it broadens your vision. It slows your digestion. It changes how your insulin works, how your glucose is used. It sends blood to your extremities and away from your organs. It slows down your detoxification. If you're living under stress, you need to figure it out. Because if your thyroid's ever going to have a chance of working properly, you need to talk to somebody. You need to get a girlfriend. Call me, call your girlfriend, call somebody. Get through the stress. Learn to manage the stress. Because your thyroid doesn't work when you're under stress. There's physical, chemical, and emotional stress. You have to manage all 3 of them. All right. So I'm covering a lot of territory, but basically, feed your gut, feed your mind, your body, your spirit. Absorb all of those things that serve you, and everything that doesn't serve you, let it go. So, leaky gut, bad deal. I don't know why that's zoomed in like that. Okay, we're wrapping up here. So what if your most important job was being a gardener, and the most important garden is that's within you? And whether you were going to live a long, healthy life, or sick, or die sick, get sick, die early, a very painful, slow, agonizing death was a function of how you took care of your garden, how important would that be to you? So sleep is critical. If you're not getting sleep, talk to somebody, get rid of the stress, maybe add some magnesium, give me a call. I've got the link I give you at the end. It's going to have a whole bunch of, I've got some solutions for you. They're PDFs they're called targeted needs. But pretty much if you go top to bottom on the links I give you, just poke around, find the things that serve you. If it serves you, take it. If it doesn't, just leave it on the shelf. But when you sleep, that's when your body repairs itself. Okay. So if you're suffering or if you're starting to do things right and your body wants to sleep, if you need to take a nap, take the nap, get some sleep. I also recommend for sleep, make it dark. Make it dark. Shut off your phone. Just shut it off. If you can't shut it off because your kid's traveling, stick it on the other side of your room. Shut off the Bluetooth. Shut off the router. Get rid of those frequencies. Those mess with your mind. Okay. I have people come out here to the farm and they sleep in the guest room. It's the best sleep they've had forever. But you need to learn how to find that deep sleep. And then the cool thing is, once you learn how to sleep deeply, then you can start getting into this thing where you do this lucid dreaming, where you can actually direct your subconscious mind into some really cool areas and solve problems that you can't do when your brain is fully awake. I talked to you about water, bare bones minimum. Get yourself a pressed carbon filter that'll reduce down to like 4 microns, 3 microns. You can just buy them. There's the Brita filters. Do something, but don't drink the tap water. Ideally, you'll learn how to structure water. In a perfect world, you'd go and eat like a watermelon every morning, right? Big chunk of watermelon and get the water. Let the plant do the work. Let the plant mineralize the water. Let the plant do all the work for you. And all you have to do is crack open that watermelon or cantaloupe or pineapple and just get all your water from your foods. That would be ideal. Clean, fresh foods. Do not believe it if it says organic. We'll do another seminar here. If you just make sure you're on my distribution list or contact me, I'll make sure you're on it. We're going to do a lot about foods and how to do the things that we're talking about. My spouse is a green chef, formally trained, but teaching how to eat from the garden. So maybe taking you might say, well, I can't live without my lasagna. Well, let's find out how to make a lasagna out of eggplant. Like eggplant lasagna is the best you'll eat. It's crazy. Fresh air and sunshine. Go get it. It's there for you. It's one of the best gifts you can have. Breathe deeply. Get that diaphragm opening, going up and down. Breathe deeply. Don't move your shoulders. Open up your lower part of your lungs and blow it out. You're getting rid of toxicity. That sunshine's going to heal you. The sulfur you took, when the sunshine hits your skin, it turns into sulfate. That sulfate is the building block for all of the repairs in your body. You see you have hormone problems. That sunshine combined with your sulfur creates sulfate, and that so-called bad cholesterol. Oh, I have bad cholesterol, LDL. Is your body stupid or brilliant? That LDL is there because it's waiting for a dance partner. That dance partner is called sulfate. The bad cholesterol is waiting for sulfur to be activated by the sun to combine, creating sulfate. The sulfate creates cholesterol sulfate. That's the building block for all your hormones. So if you say, well, yeah, I have a hormone problem and I'm stressed and I never get any sunshine, well, guess what? You need to go get some cholesterol sulfate in your body, eat some things from the garden, go chase some butterflies. That cholesterol sulfate is going to help you build your hormones back. It's going to help repair. It's the basis for all of your corticosteroids. Your adrenal support is going to be a function of cholesterol sulfate. So you have to do these things. If you're deficient in sulfur, you can't even produce glutathione. The cells within your body produce glutathione to defend themselves. Without sulfur, you can't even produce glutathione. So yes, get the sunshine, get the sulfur, do the right things for your body, change the conditions, exercise. You don't need to go for an hour or two at the gym. You don't need that. What you want to do is get rosy cheeks once in a while. If you're getting rosy cheeks, you're getting the circulation to your brain, your eyes, your organs, your feet. Just get a little pink in your cheeks, a brisk walk, right? You don't have to go crazy. Circulate the blood. That's what we're talking about here. One other thing about exercise, your lymph system is your sewer system. You've seen people with these big fat ankles. Do you think they exercise? No, not a chance. Your lymphatic system is your sewer system. It has no pump. It does not have its own pump. It all settles down into your feet and your legs. And what happens is the pump that it has is your foot. When your foot does this, your calf muscle pumps the lymph up to the lymph node, which serves as a check valve. Then you bend your knee, right? That's your knee right there. You bend your knee and it pumps up to the next lymph node, which is your hip. And you twist your hip because you're walking, and that pumps it up to the next lymph node. So all the sewage that's at the bottom of your body when you're lazy and you're sedentary and you're sitting at your computer all day, all that lymph gets pumped up, and it goes, by the end of the day, it empties through your subclavian vein or your mid-thoracic duct, the other side, and it dumps on top of your cavity, and it settles eventually on top of your liver. So if you're in bed between 10 p.m. and 3 a.m., your liver, when you're sleeping deeply, goes recycle, reuse, get rid of this, keep this, repurpose this. It does all of that recycle, reuse stuff. So you take your sewage, you dump it on top of your liver. Your liver is almost the width of your body. It takes care of all that sewage. You wake up, you defecate, and you start your day. You're beautiful. You're powerful. You're more amazing than you even know. So get your exercise and make this thing go, okay? Get social. Look, we've been 2 years of BS. It was synthetic. It was fake. It was unnecessary. It's time to get social. Get yourself a meetup. If you don't want to do a meetup group, go to meetup. Get face-to-face with people. Hug people. Share with people. Talk to people. Make friends. You say, well, I have enough friends. Well, then be a friend with somebody else. You need to get out there and be social, okay? And then finally, manage stress. I hammered this, but I think I'm done with it. God bless you all. You just really, I went through a lot of stuff. You can ignore that page because I'm going to show you another page right here. And this page, if I can make it larger, this is the only link that you really need. You're welcome to go to my website, tiazuli.com/links. And what I did here was I put so many of the things and the resources that I covered. They're there. Virtually all of it's free. If you want to, get some nutrients or something, you'll have to pay for your own nutrients. I'm not going to pay for your nutrients, but I'll teach you how to use the nutrients, things like that. But pretty much whatever I'm doing from this point forward, I'll be posting on those links. There's also an opportunity for you to click a link and set an appointment with me. So if you want just some one-on-one time where I can answer something specific to you, where I can help you in particular, then certainly just do that and I'll certainly help you out.